Came crashing down on an SUV in Pennsylvania. The car was crushed on a roadway, but shockingly, the driver survived. She emerged from the vehicle unharmed. She then runs over to the driver of another car. The incident happened this morning. A worker at a gas station says he noticed the tree was dead, and so were others around it.
Well,
White privilege exists.
Yes.
Absolutely. Would you guys support paying reparations?
Yeah.
Well, I want to give you guys the opportunity, actually. This is my friend Topher. If you want to pay reparations or help the Black community.
So if y'all can, I need lunch today. So y'all have $20 I can grab.
Don't have my wallet on me.
What do y'all think?
I don't have any questions, but I do have some comments. To say that this bill will not raise gas prices is not only absurd, it's downright irresponsible in the definition of gaslighting.
I personally thank you for what you do for our country and for our industry. It has been my pleasure to be here today to help you usher in the golden age of America. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you.
For 4 long years, Joe Biden and congressional Democrats tried to abolish the American coal industry. They did everything in their power while he was awake, which wasn't much, shutting down dozens of coal plants, banning coal leases on federal lands, and putting thousands and thousands of coal miners out of work. Strong, they're strong, and they're great.
We start, though, with breaking news at the Supreme Court. It just handed President Trump another win, allowing his administration to fire hundreds of probationary federal workers. I want to get straight to Paula Reed, who was looking through the decision. Paula, what did they say?
So, Dana, this is a significant win for the administration, the fourth one that they have notched from the Supreme Court in just the past few days.
It's important to me because I'm an enthusiast. You know, I have a car I bought in 1989. I still use it today. It's only got 27,000 miles on it. It looks brand new, but to get it smogged, I gotta go. I'm in Burbank. I have to go to Downey. I have to go somewhere to try and find a smog station. How many miles I put more miles on it looking for smog stations than I do driving it. You know?
Furious at Corona's night with a new housing development. It will contain twice as many homes and families than they wanted, all because of a state law designed to ease the housing crisis. KCAL News reporter Nicole Comstock is live in Corona, where city leaders are powerless to stop this. Nicole?
Yeah, and as you mentioned, Pat, this really all boils down to that state law meant to address California's housing crisis. Neighbors tell us they're not against building more homes here, but they don't think the best solution is to jam-pack a bunch of them into one space and rent them out to people.
To go around the country and educate people about what immigrants do for this country, or the fact that we are a country of immigrants.
Right.
The fact is, ain't none of y'all trying to go and farm right now. Okay, so I'm lying. Raise your hands. You're not. We done picking cotton. We are. You can't pay us enough to find a plantation.
Why don't you explain?
How do you know that, Roy? I mean, where's that coming from? Give me an example.
So you want to pause time and we'll get into
I'm
that
just wondering,
debate.
like, you come up with ideas.
Come in
concepts,
studio and we'll have a discussion
out
about
of
it.
nowhere. Out of nowhere.
No.
And we're just kind of, listening to you every week, complaining. I don't see anything coming from that substance.
Mr. Perez, and I will point to you, and I had from Mr.
Give me
Medina.
some substance, please. Thank you.
6 months ago, we went through this when he was at the crime syndicate. He can testify to that.
Minute now, the soccer coach charged with murdering a teen reported missing by his family is expected to appear before a judge.
Eyewitness News reporter Sid Garcia is live in downtown Los Angeles outside the courthouse. Sid, what is the very latest there?
The very latest, within the past couple of minutes, the suspect has gone into the courtroom.
officially waiting to make his first court appearance in connection to the murder charges. We're still waiting for that to happen, the hearing at least. Take a look at who we are talking about. The suspect is 43-year-old Mario Garcia Aquino. He's been charged with the murder of 13-year-old Oscar Hernandez of North Hollywood. He was the teen soccer coach. In a separate case, Aquino is also accused of sexually assaulting a 16-year-old boy at his then home in Silmar in February of 2024. The district attorney also amended the charges and added another count of attempted sexual assault of a minor, a 14-year-old boy, and an attempt of a lewd act on a minor in December of 2022. The alleged victim is the same 14-year-old boy. As for the Hernandez murder, family and investigators say that on March 30th, Hernandez got on.
Now more of the local news. You never heard in the ABC7 report of the soccer coach who's accused of murdering the 13-year-old boy that he was an illegal alien in this country unlawfully. Shame on ABC7 of that. U.S. Attorney Bill Essayli from the Southern California area and Judge Carter are going to investigate the homeless housing fraud, the $2 billion, the $24 billion, who knows, $100 billion that we have dumped in the absolute boondoggle of the homeless industrial complex. Rialto man arrested for carjacking in Mead Valley. Of that, Trump, of course, doubling down on the tariffs. 104% on China's coming. How electric cars save the planet. Ha, ha, ha. And Redlands is out there. 2 school board members, Candy and Jeanette, need some support tonight at the school board meeting. They're trying to save girls' sports. The rest of them, the other 3, don't be inclined to do that. But if you put enough public pressure on them in Redlands, maybe that will change. Solar guitar music that comes in every Monday through Friday, live at 5, and Evil FB Network, Rumble, X, even YouTube rolling on. What a deal going on. Man, just thought Monday. Well, Monday's usually jam-packed because you got all the weekend, but hell, we got all kinds of stories going on here. Trump with his 104% tariff, while the coal miners absolutely loved Donald J. as he paid them a visit. They're very grateful for him. A lot of the no crack houses in Corona, the residents are mad. That's just a microcosm of what Newsom has in store for us. Assembly member says, you're getting gaslit on gas prices. That whole enchilada, that tragic story where the soccer coach is now accused of and arrested for murder of the 13-year-old boy that I believe he was coaching in there, maybe of that, and was arrested on a sexual assault before. Now it has been confirmed by Homeland Security, ICE. He was a documented illegal alien in this country, illegally and or unlawfully. Oh, they never commit any crimes, any time on that. It's absolutely ridiculous of what sometimes we go through on all this stuff. But I don't know. Sometimes it's just absolutely unreal, I believe, that we're at the point sometimes that we just deny reality of the situation. And this clown, of all clowns, but I'm really tired of the rhetoric, like the Jasmine Crockett deal, but this, oh, they never commit any crimes, that we got Kate Steinle from a long time ago, Laken Riley, Dominic Durden, all of it. We can go back. How far do you want to go back? And if it's just one, as they say, we're going to use the less emotional heartstrings. Well, if it just saves one life, it's all worth it. Then if that's going to be the rule, then you should want no one in this country unlawfully or illegally, because they do commit crimes. It's really, really tragic. At least Nathan Hawk, at least it's in LA County, at least Nathan Hockman, which I'm not really red hot on, but he's about 9 gazillion% better than George Gascon. If George Gascon was in there, he'd probably let this guy walk. And that's not too far from the truth. Whew. One thing, and I want to get to this, Gary Bertain put this out there for us yesterday. Tonight, 6 o'clock, Redlands School Board meeting. Candy and Jeanette are trying to push for Save Girls Sports, no boys, men, and girls' locker rooms and stuff. They have 3 board members that are not inclined to do that, or on the, let's just, got to acquiesce to the trannies and the whole thing. So if you're around the Redlands area and you can get there, still got an hour to get to the school board meeting, sign up, let them know this is an 80-20 issue. And this shows, and we'll get to the election integrity, some stuff broke out. Interesting factoids by Greg Langworthy and his crew at the Board of Supervisors in Rivco this morning. We'll get to that. But this is a consequence of our election. You should not have 3 board members out of 5 supporting men, boys, and girls' private spaces, boys and men beating up on the girls in their sports. Out of 5, you're lucky if you should have 1. Across the board, but a majority of our school boards are that. You just can't run the emotional heartstrings stuff, especially when you're electing your school board members. So again, if you're out in Redlands, roll in there to the school district. It's on 25 West Lajonia Avenue in Redlands. Look it up. They're easy to find. Should be no problem. Again, these stories keep coming up. Francisco Diaz, Rialto man arrested for carjacking in Meade Valley. Led officers, they spotted him in Riverside. Riverside police picked him up. Chase went all the way into San Bernardino, so RPD and San Bernardino Police Department got in on the action on that one, but they did finally pull him over in San Bernardino County and got that situation revised, done of that. This is a big one. And this is why, although we did lose Billy Essayli out of the assembly, one of our 2 strongest members for the freedom and liberty types in our assembly, with Carl DeMaio, who just came on this year, Bill a little over 2 years ago. But this is why it was important, and this is the first salvo out of the box. And we know there was a reason Trump put this in there. Again, the talk started at the LA fire deal where Trump was out here in LA. Rick Grinnell introduced Bill Essayli to Donald Trump after the meeting. Sources are telling me that's when this Bill Essayli to be the U.S. Attorney representative for basically the Central Southern California area, along with Judge Carter. And if you're not familiar with Judge Carter, remember back a few years ago before COVID, when in Orange County there was those big encampments down the Santa Ana River. He was the judge in that. He's become known as the vagrant or the homeless judge for the U.S. District Courts out here. He gets pretty much all the vagrant cases. So now he's moved on to L.A., and you see the picture, well, a small picture of him walking yesterday with Bill Essayli, touring the L.A. deal, where one of the heads that was running that with the deal they got down there, $2 billion, and she's awarding big contracts to her husband. And then she resigned last Friday. $24 billion in the state of California. Nobody knows where it went. Nobody can account for it. Nobody can say, well, we spent this on this and we built this. This is successful. This didn't work. This is kind of nothing. That's what Judge Carter was asking. He got the case in L.A. Now that Essayli last week was sworn in as our U.S. Attorney, Central and Southern California rep for Donald J. Trump, he's out investigating this stuff now. He says he's going all the way up to California with this, all the way to Newsom's office. This is why this is very important. You notice, and that story broke yesterday, it's in the print papers. At least I couldn't find one videotape of any news story that any of the so-called TV stations have run. Very distressing, to say the least, in that. But this is again, I think this is just the first of many investigations, probably election integrity is coming on. Of course, we have the whole illegal, just by that case that broke up in northern LA area where the 13-year-old was murdered. Somebody in the country illegally, undocumented, unlawfully has been charged with the boy's murder. This bodes well. I really do have a sense we're turning the corner. And why I say this is had a discussion with some of the Riverside County sheriffs, the muckety mucks. And they said, you know what, we're getting questions at our community meetings we have. Well, why isn't the Indio jail opened up? You know, for those of you, or a lot of people say, well, why do you go to the meetings? Or it doesn't matter if you show up, they're going to do what they want anyway. Nothing ever changes, blah, 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 blah. Well, nothing does change. No, it will change. It will change for the worse if good people do nothing. We'll get to that a little bit later on with my little exchange with Chair of the Riverside County Board of Supervisors, Victor Manuel Perez. But if you don't push the issue, nobody will know, or most people won't know. If you don't have a vibrant press, if you don't have gadflies out there like Team Palomares or Joanne Steffen or Claudia Ramirez or Jason Hunter, and I know I'm forgetting a lot, you know, it could go on and on and on. with that. Greg Langworthy and his crew doing the election integrity, which we'll get to in a minute. All these folks out here that are, the 3%ers or less that are pushing the envelope, that are bringing these issues out. The young lady that brought out, and we'll get to that at the Board of Supervisors about education. These things are all important, but they don't get anywhere. Jackie McCrae about the absolute, disgusting of how foster kids are treated. Of all the things, the Turpin kids got abused twice unfortunately by their parents. And that was a big failure of our government because they were supposed to be watching the deal. Then once they finally broke free, the one young lady broke free and turned them in, they got them away from them. Then some of them are getting sexually abused in the foster homes. After they went through the trauma of the House of Horrors in Paris. And they crow about, and they had 30 minutes worth of award to employees and stuff like that. But the real important stuff doesn't seem to change. Or it's extremely difficult. That's what gets so frustrating. I know it gets frustrating. I get frustrated with it at times. Of how and it does. It seems like at times nothing's going to happen, nothing's going to change. But it is, like I say, we're seeing lots of things. We're seeing lots of things change. We're seeing positive actions where it was just like negative, slightly positive, negative. Now we're getting negative, positive, negative, positive. One thing, and maybe we'll get to it later in the week, Mark Mitchell of Rasmussen reports, the pollster, you're seeing and I've said this, you're seeing a divide between people under about 40, 45 who have a net +7 positive approval rating of Trump. Those 40 and 45 up are like a net -3, which is like a sea change. The old people now are becoming the commie libs, and the younger people are now coming the center-right conservative freedom and liberty types. There's, at least I have my theory of the case on how that is, and maybe we'll get into that later in the week. But that's a positive change that younger people are coming on board. And as they could say, none too soon on this stuff, because we desperately need any severe kind of help that we could get at any point. Because Lord knows we need a lot of help. Like I said, there's been positive changes amongst the rhetoric around here, but we will prevail. Brighter days are coming ahead. I really do believe that. And of all things, that day can't come fast enough. I want to run with some, before we get into locals, Assemblywoman at a recent hearing, no, she's senator actually, Suzette Valladares. And how we're getting gaslit. I think she's up there in Santa Clarita area around Magic Mountain. How we're getting gaslit on the gas prices. Here we go. Here we go.
I don't have any questions, but I do have some comments. To say that this bill will not raise gas prices is not only absurd, it's downright irresponsible in the definition of gaslighting. This will raise gas prices. And my district is a super commuter district. And maybe you can't empathize with that, but we travel hundreds of miles every day, spending hours on the road. We sacrifice time with our families. We miss school events. We miss kids' games because we live where we can afford. And on top of that, we already pay astronomical prices for gas. People in my district are paying $600 to $800 just to get to work. That doesn't include utilities, groceries, which all go up when the price of energy and gas goes up.
Valladares is absolutely 1,000% on it. Energy is the biggest component by far. The biggest component that drives anything, economy, up, down, sideways, back and forth, to and fro. Energy, the price of gas, anything will absolutely drive the cost of everything. That's why inflation will be coming down, because oil was $100 a barrel during the Biden administration. Now it's down to 60. Dropped $40, almost half. With the election of Donald J. Trump and him swearing in about 3 or 4 months ago. And we had the Mischke study from USC. Another one. Perez is asking, where did I get my stuff? I told him. State of California, USC on the gas prices, State of California, CAS website on education. Don't say you can't. You challenge these guys and they can't handle it. That's why they're running nervous, because now, well, Suzette Valladares, state senator, is now picking up the mantle where Bill Essayli was at, directly challenging them with facts of what's going on.
Let's be clear though here. Government is who makes the most on a gallon of gas, more than $1.60 in taxes and fees. And that's not big oil, that's government. And yet, instead of addressing the real reason gas prices are so high, this is only gonna make it worse. We can't afford EVs in my district, the cost of infrastructure or the cost of buying those EVs, or even the time. Working people are hurting, and this is gonna punish them even more.
That's exactly right. It's going to punish the average American, the average Californian. Look, as the price of oil is dropping, the gas price is going up in California. How does that happen? The average price is like $3 a gallon. It's $5 here. 40% higher. It's because of the stupid people we have elected. Like Miss Valladares said, they can't afford the average person can't afford electric cars. On top of that, it's a ruse. That's why you should go to IA Newswire. This was our meme we posted this morning. How electric cars save the planet. I think I got this from Rooster DeForge, or I think he posted it. With a gasoline or diesel car, the fossil fuel is burned under the hood, emitting greenhouse gases from the tailpipe. But with an electric car, the fossil fuels are burned far away where you can't see them, emitting greenhouse gases where you can't detect them. To power a battery that poisons the children who make them so you can impress your friends. That right there is extremely telling and true for the most part. I don't care how you do it. You burn energy somewhere, somehow. It is going to be a danger. It is going to destroy the environment. This is no different than offshoring our manufacturing to China or India or Mexico. Just dump this waste in the sewer, coal burning plants, blowing back black smoke. You can't even hardly see 2 feet in front of you in Beijing. And that ain't because of fog or anything else. It's because of the coal-fired plants just burning direct black smoke because they don't give a crap. That's why the products are cheaper, along with the labor and everything else. Or are they building a coal plant every week or something in China? It's like when we're shipping our trash, there are plastics. Oh, you think China was doing the environmentally friendly thing? No, they were sticking them in the fire and turning them into electricity and letting the pollution, the chemicals and everything run right out the stack. Because they got 1.3 billion people. Hell, if they only live to 70 years old, they don't care. They got more people and they know what to do with. They sacrifice a few years of their lives, 10, 20, they don't care. We got plenty of bodies around here. This is false sense, or if I don't see it, or somebody tells me, oh, a Tesla or whatever is zero emissions, it's total bull crap. Yeah, maybe they don't have an exhaust coming out the tailpipe. Somewhere, fossil fuels, the environment got damaged to provide you that electric car. So let's cut the crap and let's deal with the reality of the situation. No emotional heartstrings or think you're just feeling good about yourself because you can put it out of your mind, or you don't have to see the damage you're creating. Because you existing, 8 billion people are damaging the environment every nanosecond we're on the top side of the grass. Every living creature, puppy dogs, cockroaches, jaguars, hyenas, everything is damaging the environment as they define it. We're really in one heck of a strain here. But for all y'all, all you Trump derangement syndrome types, I just love to play this. The coal miners.
I personally thank you for what you do for our country and for our industry. It has been my pleasure to be here today to help you usher in the golden age of America.
That's good. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you.
That is the coal miners, unionized workers, thanking Donald J. Trump, applauding him multiple times today, issuing in the golden age of America as they determined it. Trump racking up the victories in the Supreme Court. Here we go.
Supreme Court, it just handed President Trump another win, allowing his administration to fire hundreds of probationary federal workers. I want to get straight to
Elections have consequences, and this one is a good one. Supreme Court made a preliminary injunction, said, yeah, Trump can send illegals down to El Salvador in the prison there. He has the right to fire federal employees. In fact, he has the duty and obligation as the commander-in-chief, chief executive officer running the executive branch of the United States government per Article 2 of the Constitution of the United States of America. This stuff is absolutely fantastic and great. Want to hit the Jay Leno one? Like he said, this is another tutti frutti deal. You know, if you have an old car, it's ridiculous to get it smogged. Leno's got a bill up. Maybe it's got a chance to put it back like it was supposed to be. Here we go.
Burbank. I have to go to Downey. I have to go somewhere to try and find a smog station. How many miles I put more miles on it looking for smog stations than I do driving it. You know? But it's true. I mean, I try to be the typical California enthusiast. During the week, I drive an electric car. My garage is all green. We have solar panels on the roof. We try to get off the grid as much as we can. And we try to do it in a way that we don't use, we use environment.
Okay, there's Greenie Jane Leno. You're harassing poor Jay over driving his classic 89 car probably once. He's got 300 of the damn things. Got a hell of a garage down there in LA. So he drives it once in a while, like he said. He drives it more trying to get a smog cert than he does driving the damn thing. It was supposed to be when Dick Ackerman, the old assemblyman from out here, had it on there. It was supposed to be when it started with the 73. It was supposed to be a rolling 30-year deal. So we should be 95 and below exempt. You wish us exempt. Who's driving a 1981 Ford to Los Angeles every day to work? It is not happening. And it hurts the few people that do drive them every day. That's the only thing they can afford. And they're driving in very few miles. They're not hurting anything. Here's another thing that's just plumb crazy. This is the Democrats, the left, the Gavin Newsom's solution to housing. Oh, let's stack and pack, cram them in there. City of Corona, their city council, and in practically any other city council, Huntington Beach is suing them over it and a few others. Some of the ritzy areas, I mean really ritzy areas. Here's a story from Nicole Comstock at KCAL News. Here we go. We thought. Here we go.
News reporter Nicole Comstock is live in Corona, where city leaders are powerless to stop this. Nicole?
Yeah, and as you mentioned, Pat, this really all boils down to that state law meant to address California's housing crisis. Neighbors tell us they're not against building more homes here, but they don't think the best solution is to jam pack a bunch of them into one space and rent them out to people.
I don't want a cracker box across the street. I want something that looks like our neighborhood.
Paulette Perry isn't exactly thrilled about the residential development across the street.
You're overpopulating our little area here. You're not building to our neighborhood. You're building way too high.
She says 172 neighbors signed her petition to keep a 2-story build-to-rent community out of the neighborhood full of single-story homes that were built in the 1960s.
Did that make any difference? No.
The city council says they originally approved 19 of those homes here. But then a new state law took effect, which allowed the developer to add 19 accessory dwelling units behind the homes for a total of 38 homes.
I had to sit and tell them that I have no choice. I'm handcuffed. They either vote their way or the city faces lawsuits.
Corona City Council member Tom Richins says new state housing laws allow developers to prioritize profits under the guise of solving the state's housing crisis, renting out new builds for a monthly price that's comparable to a mortgage payment.
But yeah, the dream of home ownership is fading and corporations are taking over.
The developer Tricon Residential sent us a written statement that reads in part, "Our focus is on our mission to help address California's housing challenges by adding to the supply of new homes. We believe everyone deserves access to housing they can afford in the communities where they live and work. Some say opposition of the rental homes is being blown out of proportion, and it feels a lot like a case of not in my backyard." Richin says if there were affordable homes for sale here, the reaction would be different.
But that's not what's going on anymore. It's just turned into, we need more houses, however you can jam pack them in.
However you can jam pack them in. Just double the density. State law, your local cities and counties can't do a damn thing about it. Not legally. We've warned against that. What was it, Prop 8? Susan Shelley we've had on many times, others. They're going to kill you with this stuff. Now you're seeing the reality. Now you're seeing the consequences of voting or not getting out and working campaigns or not going to city council meetings or electing the Corey Jacksons and the Sabrina Cervanteses and the Leloise Reyeses. You want your girls beat up by boys. You want them exposed to men and boys in their locker rooms and bathrooms. You want your kids to be educated. Keep voting the same way. Don't pay attention. Think somebody else is going to do it. Oh, Roy will be down at the council meeting or his board of supervisors saying something. I don't have to go. Well, look at Redlands. They're about to get we're going to let the teenage boys and your teenage daughters bathrooms and locker rooms while they are completely naked. Nothing. No harm. Nothing's going to happen over that. Jasmine Crockett says us black folk ain't going to be picking no cotton anymore.
Go around the country and educate people about what immigrants do for this country or the fact that we are a country of immigrants.
Right.
The fact is, ain't none of y'all trying to go and farm right now. Okay, so I'm lying. Raise your hands. You're not. We done picking cotton. We are. You can't pay us enough to find a plantation.
I know that's right.
So
you can't pay us enough to be on that plantation. Well, you know what? If we weren't handing out fraudulent unemployment checks or welfare checks or Social Security checks, free this, not free, taking from somebody else and giving to somebody else, Tell you what, if you were starving to death, you'd be out there picking that cotton, harvesting those blueberries. Damn straight you would be. That's the incentive you need to get an education, to build some skills, so you don't have to do that. Not that you can just sit at home, get stoned in the morning and drunk in the afternoon, eat bonbons and ice cream, wreck your health, need a kidney transplant. No. You just make the evil white boy pay for it. Crockett and her ilk's day is coming to a flat end. It'll be a great day when we get a lot of this stuff solved. We're on our way. We're just in the early. We're in the first few seconds of the first round.
Got 1 minute, Roy.
Of a championship 12-round heavyweight bout. The good news is we've landed in these first few seconds some pretty good blows, as you've seen, including today. We'll get into some of that, and we'll get into
got 30 seconds.
Verbal sparring that went on down at the Riverside County Board of Supervisors this morning, and some maybe a few other things that were going in and around of that. As Sean said, we'll be joining the Mighty Met KMET 1490 AM.
Here we go, 10 seconds.
Designs.com. And remember to use code LOSESHOW and get 10% off your order.
IE Newswire Daily is on the air.
The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station. Views expressed are not necessarily those of radio station KMET, management, and
There's that funky slide guitar music that comes on every Monday through Friday live at 5:30 on the Mighty Met 1490 AM. Broadcasting all over the Inland Empire and the aforementioned AM band. Join your vast video audience in the Evil FB Network, Rumble, X, even YouTube. Check us out, subscribe, do all that good stuff on that. Major victories. Trump's winning in the Supreme Court. Again, they said, yeah, you have the right to fire. You actually have the constitutional duty to fire those federal employees that aren't showing up to work. Glory days are ahead, especially since the Glory Days singer, oh, did he move out? I hope so. Never did get the whole Springsteen phenomena. But anyway, the sad story about that 13-year-old boy that was found murdered up in North LA, they made an arrest of the soccer coach, his soccer coach, who Homeland Security said was an undocumented immigrant, illegal alien in this country unlawfully, as Bill Malusian has said. We don't want to hear about the rhetoric, oh, they don't, this, that. It doesn't matter. If you're in this country unlawfully or illegally, you should be back in the country you came from, or you're supposed to be in. Period, end of story. We don't want nothing. Don't want to hear the emotional heartstrings. Don't want to hear we've been here 35 years. Just means you've been either here committing crimes or not doing the process. If you can't figure out in 35 years how to become a United States citizen, then you really don't appreciate being in the greatest country in the history of the world. I hope she's going to pick up some of the slack with Bill Essayli from the Assembly, who is our new U.S. Attorney. Senator Suzette Valladares, she's up there in the Santa Clarita Magic Mountain area. She said, yeah, you're getting gaslit on gas prices. The tide is turning. Corona residents are saying we don't want cracker box houses in our neighborhood, and the whole thing. 19-unit development. Now with the state law, they can put 38 in there, the same piece of property. And as the Corona City Councilman said, ain't really nothing we can do about it. If we don't let them do it, they'll just wind up suing us, and then it'll cost you even more money. Elections have consequences. You sitting on your hands, not doing nothing or paying attention to this stuff of that has real world consequences. Coal miners today were saying, we love Donald J. Trump. He's issuing in the new golden era in the United States. Jay Leno on the, and maybe he's got enough horsepower to do it, finally going to get us where if you got a classic car, you don't have to have smog. Like he said, his 89 car, he spends more miles driving around trying to get a smog cert than he does driving the damn thing. That's how hideous the law is. Should have never been remanded in the first place. Jasmine Crockett, the racist congresswoman from Texas who's been making a lot of noise, said black folk ain't going to be picking no cotton anymore. That's why we need them illegal slaves in here. We're running them as the new slaves. They're our slaves. They're going to do all those jobs we ain't going to do because we can get the government to point a gun at all you stupid workers, and we get to sit at home doing nothing, enjoying life. Hopefully Jasmine Crockett's days in the Congress are very limited and none too soon. We have just, again, Bill Essayli coming out with Judge Carter. They're going to be doing some blockbuster investigations into this whole homeless thing. They were touring LA yesterday. That's the good news that we have. They're starting the investigation on the tens, maybe hundreds of billions of dollars that have been ripped off from us, the taxpayer, under the guise of, oh, we're going to house all these homeless. It's like with the housing. Government policy, just like the gas prices, is why homes are so expensive. No other reason. I want to get to some of the happenings down at the Riverside County Board of Supervisors this morning. And again, if you don't say anything or it doesn't come out, you won't have things like this happen. It's a young lady that rolled up there this morning, and she started off with this.
Recap, it's, you guys are having a heavy migration into the county. And most times we come with urban mannerisms because we are migrating from mostly Orange County and LA. We do need additional housing in Nuevo, and that would allow for the residents of Nuevo to stay in Nuevo. If we don't have no homes, we have to go outskirts to where there's more development right now. And there has been a decrease in housing as a general. You know, back then the average was 5 years. Now we're almost at 7. Last year you were at 35 years. Now you're at 38 if you want to be a homeowner.
That young lady put it out there. That's what I've been saying. The American dream, the dream in the Inland Empire, where you could build yourself a custom home, where you start out with a small home or something, and you get a job and everything's going. You get some more skills, you're making more money, you build a custom home, nice home, swimming pool, got a couple kids, couple cars, 2 or 3 cars, one for the wife, one for fun day. Now you can't even afford a home. Now, if you do afford a home, you're going to get a little 200 square foot cubicle in a 100-story high rise in New York City. Look what they're doing to Corona. Corona. Nuevo was the epitome of where, hey, even if you didn't make a lot of money, you could have that life. You could have a half-acre, 1-acre lot in a very nice home. Even if you were on the lower end of the economic scale. Now, if you're on the higher economic end, you can't even afford to live in frickin' Nuevo. There's nothing wrong with Nuevo. Love the place. Love the people down there. So it used to be like Moreno Valley was, same thing. Now you have, as they say, the urban blight. Now we get to her rendition on the school.
Ethnicities that need most help within the Riverside County, based off the chart, is the African American community, the male community, along with the Hispanic community. So when you take away school and you already know that the Hispanic community is in need of assistance, it kind of retracts what we're trying to get to. As far as when you base it off of, foster youth, English learners, and students with disabilities, those are the lowest graduating rates as well. Once again, English learners is most of the time it's Hispanic community. Obviously, there is other communities.
There you see the declining graduation rate, which really doesn't mean anything, because the student achievement level, grade level, whether they're proficient at whatever grade, TK, kindergarten, 8th grade, 12th grade, 4th grade, they're less. They're not even, they could not hold a candle to kids 20 years ago, 50 years ago of the same age or grade. Not even close. And you're seeing the destruction comparatively out here in the greater Inland Empire area of Paris, Moreno Valley, Banning, down to Coachella, Hemet. This touched off a little rendition out at the Blount County Board of Supervisors when I got up there to speak. And we had Langworthy and his crew about the election, and we'll get to that in a sec. Here's yours truly. And even wearing the same shirt that I wore this morning at the County Board of Supervisors, picking up on the comments of the young lady about the housing costs and the school and everything else. And then it really starts. Yes.
All right.
So the first young lady who spoke in this segment mentioned education. I've come up here in many venues, public venues, mentioning this. And again, it was mentioned by the chair again. And I looked maybe apropos from my center left, the three members who were educators, teachers, and two of you on the assembly who voted to destroy the once greatest education system in the world known as the state of California. So who I'm referring to, there's three teachers that are on the Riverside County Board of Supervisors. Victor Manuel Perez, the chair, Extian Gutierrez, which happens to be my county supervisor, and a newly elected Jose Medina, which has been in the Assembly of the state of California from 2012 to 2022. Victor was in the Assembly, I think from what, 06, 08 to 17 when he got appointed to the County Board of Supervisors. Extian has been council member, mayor of Moreno Valley from 14 to 22 till he got elected supervisor a little over a couple years ago. So they're all educators. They've all been involved in politics. Victor and Jose Medina especially voted for the budgets. In 2014, $8,000 is what we were spending per student in the state of California, K through 12. Every student, $8,000. It's $24,000 10 years later. 3 times the money. That's what I was saying about the young lady. It's not a money problem. Here's where she gets interesting. Why don't you explain?
How do you know that, Roy? I mean, where's that coming from? Give me an example.
So you want to pause time and we'll get into
I'm
that
just
debate?
wondering, like, you come up with ideas.
Come in
concepts,
studio and we'll have a
that's just
discussion
like
about it. Which they did. Oh, I love this. Chuck Washington's done it. Victor's done it. Karen's done it a little bit. Like I said, you want to pause time. You want to have a discussion on your time. Examples, I told him. I've said it to them. I've given them evidence. I've given evidence across this show, at school board meetings, at city council meetings, at county board of supervisors meetings. The statistics, I don't care if it's gas prices, education, we all know it. They know it. Victor knows it. He was there. He's been on both ends of this. He was approving the budgets to doing that. And again, 1988, Prop 98, when the teachers' unions got pissed because we got $1 billion tax refund, but the 40% on the general fund budget, the state of California, and that's the high water mark when we were #1 in education across all the states. Now we're in the 40s and sinking. Thank goodness for Louisiana. Else we were in Mississippi, else we would be last. And again, Victor, Jose Medina, all you cats, X, Karen or Chuck, like I said, come on in. We'll have a discussion. We won't have a discussion on the time restraints of that. We'll have a discussion of how long you want to go for it. We'll bring your evidence, bring your experts, bring little Stevie Hernandez or whomever. Bring Rubalcaba, or whatever his name is. Bring Martin Rex Casiodora. X would probably be able to get him online. Here we go.
Out of nowhere. Out of nowhere.
No.
And we were just kind of, listening to you every week. Complaining. I don't see anything coming from that substance.
Mr. Perez, and I will point to you, and I had from Mr. Nothing of substance. Does he read the emails I send to the County Board of Supervisors addressed to District 4, Victor Manuel Perez, with links and evidence? Come on this show. Again, come on this show. We'll go through it all. I can't do a War and Peace novel in 3 minutes, and then you're interrupting me. At least you stop the time. But take the challenge, Victor. Come on in. We'll go. You want to have a Lincoln Douglas debate? I'll give you 30 minutes. I'll take 30 minutes. You want to go back and forth? You want to go for 6 hours straight? 8 hours? Want to filibuster? Let's go for it, Victor. I don't have any substance, nothing. Back that up, Victor Manuel Perez. I'm putting the challenge to you. Back up your words. You say I have no substance, no evidence. I just come up there and complain. Then back that up, because I want you to substantiate your claims against me at the Board of Supervisors. So be man enough, have guts enough, have enough integrity, Victor, to back up your claims.
Give me some substance, please. Thank you.
6 months ago, we went through this when he was at the crime syndicate. He can testify to that. He didn't even know what it was when Sammy Luna was, when you recommended Sammy Luna.
I'll let you finish your points. Thank you.
And I will invite you in anytime to come in studio, any of you, and we'll have a discussion about it. We'll bring out the statistics. And I will let you have as much time as you need to make your point.
Thank you. You got an hour, you got a minute and 38 seconds.
So, when we do this and when we explain, again, you see the frustration in the community. They know something's wrong, they just don't know how we got there, in most cases. And that's an absolute fact. They don't know how we got there. And I appreciate the extra time. And we'll do it anytime Victor wants to get to it. Want to get to Jose Medina a little bit. He's the one I was referring to. He didn't know, had no idea. He passed the budgets. That we went from 8,000 to 24,000. Wonder why that happened. Per student in 10 years, in the last 10 years. It's not a money problem, Jose. See if we can dial him up. Oops. Anyway, he went on to say...
All right, folks.
He went on to say, oh, I'm proud of my record. I think I got him here. Let's see.
So next, we're going to go ahead and board comments, and you want to go ahead, Mr. Medina?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. And before we get the slides up, as part of my board comments, let me say that I am very proud of the 34 years that I served as a classroom teacher, and of the 10 years that I served in the state legislature, and 8 of those years as chair of higher education, and that I am proud to have served with you.
Come on in, both of you. Please. You're proud of wrecking higher education, Jose Medina? Let's go on that. You're proud of wrecking K through 12. You're proud of spending 3 times as more for half the student achievement. Well, not quite that much, but less. The more money you dump, the worse student achievement gets. As the young lady brought up to you, not Roy, the young lady from Nuevo. It's stunning at times of what we see. Check this one out. This is on the voter integrity.
Just doing some quick math. See that the USPS invoices total 288,000, but the ROV recorded 403,000. That's a difference of 115,000 ballots that were received through USPS.
So they cut the young lady off. If I read the claim right, 115,000 more mail-in ballots coming in versus what the United States Post Office said they delivered or billed for in Riverside County. Things that make you go, She's part of the Riverside Election Integrity Unit, headed up by Greg Langworthy. And Greg was there, and his wife Veronica, and this young lady, I forgot her name. But she had some statistics to come up with. But this is why, Victor, you can't, in 3 minutes, you can't run 27 this and that and War and Peace novel and link to this and that. You only have 3 minutes to speak up there. You have the background information of all that you want to deny or say doesn't exist or say I don't know what I'm talking about. Again, giving you the chance to back up your claims, Victor Manuel Perez. See if you've got the integrity, the balls to do it. Or do you just launch hand grenades when you're in charge? It'll be very interesting. And please bring Jose and Extian with you. We'll have fun. I promise to be nice. As you know, I've been talking about standing up for our country, doing something. These big box stores stayed open while the little guys closed. Will our voices be heard? Does voting with our dollars work? PatriotSwitch.com gives patriots the power to walk away from the big box stores forever. Stop supporting the enemies of freedom now. That's why PatriotSwitch.com was created, for those who support America. PatriotSwitch.com. Is your car doing the hucklebuck and afraid you will be stuck? Well, head on down to Toyota of San Bernardino, Nissan of San Bernardino, Subaru of San Bernardino, and the San Bernardino Auto Mall, and catch a Camry, look ravishing in a Rogue, or be styling in a Subaru. Don't forget I-10 Toyota and Indio for those of you in the lower desert. You deserve to be the happiest human on the planet. So head on down to one of these 4 great dealerships for the car of your dreams. Spread the word. IE Newswire is now on every Monday through Friday, live at 5 p.m. on Rumble and KMET 1490 AM, 5:30 to 6 p.m. Join all the cool kids who want an eclectic look at the news without all the filters of the evil scoundrels of social media and the despicable dorks of the dominant press. Don't bumble and stumble. Subscribe to IE Newswire on Rumble and roll with the best hillbilly hoedown around. That's it. If you want to buy American, go to PatriotSwitch.com. If you need a new Subaru or Toyota, go to Wincliffe Cummings, great dealerships, San Bernardino Auto Mall, the 10 and 215 freeways. Don't forget I-10 Toyota down the lower desert. If you're down in Redlands, you still got time to get to the school board meeting. It's starting in a few minutes. But 2 school board members are trying to fight the good fight of keeping men, boys out of girls' sports, locker rooms, and that. So if you're around the Redlands area, hit the school board meeting of that. Let them know what you think. They got to sway one more member, or there's another one going down the tubes. Of that, it's always fun of that. Like we had fun down at the supervisor's office. It's always, I love them to challenge me because I know the rules, so I don't, they're not gonna fluster me like they do other people. That'll do it for today. As we usually say at this time, mandatory, you're back here in 23 hours. Why? You're the best darn show in the whole wide world. Till then, see ya.
The proceeding was a paid.
All right, Roy, have a good couple days.
You got it.
Bye now.